This week's Whispers, can Klopp keep it together? How will Jurgen stop his stars from moving on? And French fancies, we sift some footballing Gallic gold. And the Arsenal debate continues, how Arsene's future is dividing the fans and maybe unsettling his players. Hello, welcome to Football Whispers, your best guide anywhere to who's on the move and where. Joining us this week, Damien Comolli, a former scout, coach, and who was director of football at Spurs and then Liverpool, was responsible for signing, amongst others, Gareth Bale and then Luis Suarez. Alongside him, someone who played for both of those clubs, our regular guest, Paul Walsh. First up, here's a brief guide to exactly how Football Whispers works. Now, having Damien Comolli on a programme which deals with the transfer market is something close to manna from heaven. He's plucked his own constellation of stars from the footballing heavens. Most of them are now household names. All of them have been the subject of big money transfers. He was responsible for some great buys at Spurs and Liverpool, but not every pick turned out to be top of the pops. How difficult is it to be a director of football?
Well, I think that like every job with big responsibilities, it is difficult. The most difficult aspect is probably the being under the spotlight constantly, and from people trying to judge or wanting to judge what you are trying to achieve on a daily basis or even by the hour. Now, with social media, the last couple of days, the transfer window, it's what are they doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So that constant analysis is part of the job. It doesn't make the job easy, that's for sure.
Well, the arrival of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool has heralded a change in the club's fortunes. The German has lived up to the hype and has got one of the world's biggest clubs back to consistently winning ways. But establishing a winning team is one thing, hanging on to the key players in that team is another. Most clubs suffer from the problem, and Liverpool are no stranger to the lure of big money bids. Look away now if you're a Liverpool fan as we highlight some of the stellar names you can no longer call your own. Players like Suarez, Sterling, Xabi Alonso and Torres, to name but four. It's a difficult job, isn't it, with all the money floating around the world game, to hang on to a decent team?
It's difficult. I mean, I've been involved in two of the players you mentioned. I was involved in either buying or selling, in Suarez and Fernando Torres. If you put things into context, interestingly, the day we signed Luis, he told me one thing that I always remember, and I've told everybody at the club at the time. He said, please, if Barcelona come in for me, will you let me go? So that was his dream, as a kid. His dream was to play for Barcelona. So it was not about the money, it was him wanting to play for that football club. Obviously, I said no, because I will say no in those circumstances. But I knew that if one of the two big clubs in Spain was coming, it would be difficult for us to stop him. The other aspect is Liverpool are now in a category of clubs that is not regular Champions League. It's very difficult to keep the players, if at the top players like that, if you are not regular in the Champions League and not in a position to compete in the Champions League at the same time. So those players are attracted by those clubs that give them guaranteed to play Champions League, guaranteed to have a chance to win it or to get to the quarterfinal, semi-final every year. And the other aspect, downside of not being in Champions League, is the difference of revenue. So Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man City, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, who are in, well, not United, not that much anymore, but the other clubs who are in the Champions League every year grow revenue and have got revenue that allows them to constantly increase the players' wages. Liverpool are not in that position. So at some point, you are limited with what you can do financially, and you are limited on what you can offer to the player in terms of playing the best club competition in the world, and that's why it's difficult to keep them.
One who they may be struggling to keep, at least according to the papers, is Coutinho, apparently the subject of a £60 million bid from Real Madrid. Do you think he'll go?
Well, it depends. A lot of the time, a player can drive the situation more than the club these days. Depends how stubborn the club want to be in terms of telling them he's staying, he's under contract, versus how unhappy the player is and how many waves he's prepared to cause within a club to get his move and get his way. We've seen it happen many, many times, but really don't know. But underlying, only the player knows how far he's prepared to push the club to get away. But he was certainly a player that, those top echelon of clubs would probably want to look at. Maybe with Lallana's had a mention as well. But just going back to what you were speaking about, the four players you mentioned, Torres, you'd have been happy to let him go when he went. Alonso didn't want to go. He was upset at Gareth Barry's, the fact that Liverpool were trying to sign Gareth Barry, I believe. And Sterling went. It was for the reason that Damien just said. Liverpool weren't in the Champions League. Manchester City were, and it was shed loads more money. So you could never argue against his move. But Coutinho, it's up to whether he's happy, whether Liverpool can provide what he's looking for in terms of a football club. But when a Barcelona, Real Madrid come knocking, it's very hard to turn that down.
Let's have a look a bit closer then at Coutinho. I reckon that money might not be involved. I don't know. We should seem to make his decision a football one rather than a financial one. This is how it stacks up against the players currently at Barcelona. You can see if their values aren't too dissimilar, the wages appear to be the same. And on current status, we can do the same comparison with Real Madrid. We reckon he's valued at about 45 million. I reckon that's a bit light, but his salary is around 75. Look at it, it doubles when they get to Real Madrid. So maybe that is his preferred option. Do you think we've got those stats right in terms of finances?
No, you're far away from the truth. I think the players that you've put on the screen there who are at Real Madrid are earning a lot more money than the 120 grand a week and 140 grand a week. I think Coutinho could get a lot more money than one if he goes to Barcelona than what he's on at Liverpool at the moment. You're talking about out of this world. There was a piece today in the press in England where they say those big 9 clubs that are running away from the rest of the competition in Europe, and Barcelona and Real Madrid are within those 9s. And when you've got wage bill, which is well beyond the 200 million euros per year, 175 or 200 million pounds, you can imagine that the players are on a lot more money than what your screenshot has just said. But I don't think it's a money decision. I think it will be a football decision. But I'll be absolutely amazed if that transfers happen in January. It's not a January transfer. The Coutinho situation. Liverpool don't need to sell. They've got plenty of money. They've got a good team, and they can't say to the player, "You're not going anywhere."
Well, you would know. We're only a week and a half into the window, and the likely deals are already mounting up. Here with a look at the movers and shakers is young James Lorenzo.
Thanks, Matt. It's all about Swansea City in our top 10 at the moment, as new boss Paul Clement looks to build a squad fit for Premier League survival. We think he's letting go of Fernando Llorente. We did mention that potential move to Chelsea on Tuesday, and we've seen nothing to suggest that there should be any hitches. The index is still very hot in the mid-4s there, so we reckon that it's only a matter of time before this one is concluded. We have a couple of players linked with moves to the Liberty Stadium, the first of which is Norwich fullback Martin Olsson. Several reports surfaced yesterday evening linking the Swedish left-back to Wales. The Mirror ran the story, ITV ran the story, NBC ran the story in the US, along with plenty of local outfits in South Wales, all of whom have contributed to this index of 4.8, which I reckon means that this deal will be done sooner rather than later. Also on his way to South Wales, we think, is PSV Eindhoven's Luciano Narsing. The 26-year-old has been on the Football Whispers radar since the start of the window. His index has been flitting between 1.2 and 1.6, but it jumped up to a 4.5 yesterday, with reports from the BBC, the Mail and the Mirror all backing the 26-year-old to make a £4 million switch to the Premier League. My deal of the day today concerns John Terry and a loan bid from Bournemouth. This story was broken by Sam Wallace in The Telegraph on Tuesday. The Chelsea captain was apparently the subject of a very tentative inquiry from the South Coast, and at an index of 2.6, it's hanging in the balance. But with Nathan Ake going the other way after Chelsea cancelled his loan deal, Terry has only fallen further down the pecking order. He's made just 5 league appearances so far this season. And yesterday we asked you on Twitter whether he should stay at the Bridge or move south. Well, last time I checked, it was about 2-1 in favour of the move. It remains to be seen whether Terry will follow your advice. That's all from me. It's back to the studio.
Now then, Arsene Wenger might be the longest-serving manager in the league by some distance, but you could be forgiven for thinking that that tenure may be about to come to an end, given recent headlines. To be fair, Wenger and his apparent reticence to spend money is often a target for a media free-for-all. Take the current dust-up. Apparently, Ozil needs reassuring that the gaffer isn't going. But others reckon it doesn't matter if Arsene is staying or going. The dynamic duo are happy where they are. But wait, it seems both players' futures are not only uncertain, they're actually hanging in the balance. Back to poor old Arsene. His future is directly linked to both players' onward plans, and it's all his fault. And now it seems the Stars' mind is made up. Both Ozil and Sanchez look set to break their contracts in the summer. Or maybe not. The Wenger debate has been topic for polite discussion outside the Emirates for quite a while now.
Arsenal Fan TV lads, that's just extremely disappointing today. I don't even think it's the fact that we've lost the game, it's the manner, the second half performance, Ty. I mean, not even you could put anything positive on that whatsoever.
I think we should have got something. I don't know what happened. The
what do you mean you don't know what happened? It's been going on for years. It's time for change now, right? It's the same old. It's a claim. It's the same old. All right, every year. All right, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Well, that one's going to rumble, and maybe we'll pop back and see how they're getting on. It's a bit like Newsnight, isn't it? Well, if Arsenal are going to spend, this is where we think he might be spending. Belotti is the man we picked out from Torino. He's only 23. He plays as a striker. I presume they could do with one. This is a pretty high index, bearing in mind the quality of the reporting. However, it could be argued that he's not really an Arsene-type player.
I think he's an Arsene type of player. I think there is zero chance that they make a move for him. I think Torino have been misled by an agent or agents. There was no bid being made, absolutely no bid. And Arsenal are not on the market for a striker. It's as simple as that.
How often does that happen then, that the agent dictates the headlines?
Well, yeah, he's in a great position to filter information into the media, into certain areas, to influence us talking about it, if you like, create the rumour. And then the rumour gets legs and then people start asking questions. The bottom line is, it's just what Damien sort of said, is do they need that player? Does Wenger like that player? Does he want that player? You know, Arsenal Scouting Network would be aware of him. The bid for a player of that ilk sounded ridiculously high as well. 56 million, I think, got a mention somewhere. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's the number that's in my mind. Way too much money for someone who's not done enough. His goal record's decent for his age and for where he's played up to now. But, you know, you wouldn't be sort of spending anything like that. Perez, what's his best position? Giroud's just signed a new contract. Sanchez can play through the middle, as we've seen, and do it very well. So, but all the time you're playing with one striker, why would you be getting another one when Giroud's just signed a new contract? So it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's Ozil and Sanchez that they're focusing on in the papers. What do you think their future is?
Honestly, I don't know, and I don't know what to think. I've got some sympathy with the story which says they want to know who's going to be the manager before signing their contract. I've got to tell you that I can buy into that. I really do, because of the relationship Arsene has got with his players. You know, they really like him. He likes them. They like him, etc. So I can understand the fact that they say, well, okay, you want us to commit for the next 5 years, but will you be here for the next 5 years? And Mr. Gaizidis, you are the CEO of the club. If the gaffer is not here, who's going to be the new manager? And nobody has got the answer to that question. That's the first thing. So that story, I can buy into it. On the other hand, I will say, if they were not being disrespectful to anybody, but if they were in a lesser club and there were players on the rise and the club wants to sign a new contract, I will totally 100% support them when they say we don't want to commit until we know who is the manager. But if you put the two together, they are Arsenal Football Club. They are one of the top 10 clubs in the world, in the best city in the world, playing every other week in one of the best stadiums in the world. So if I was them, unless I've got Real Madrid or Barcelona or maybe another one of the big boys in England knocking on the door and say, don't sign because you are there we are there for you, I will still sign the contract even though there is a uncertainty on who's going to be the managers, just because I know I'm in one of the biggest clubs in the world, and that has got to play into the good way for them.
So if something wonderful happened and they won the league or another trophy, would that be enough to keep them there?
Yeah, because I think Arsenal can keep them happy financially. But the player, again, we can't speak for him, but we can only guess what he's thinking. He's got to want to stay. He's got to want to love it for all the reasons Damien just said. Want to be in London at one of the top clubs, but maybe they want Arsenal to really be going for the title, rather than sort of they've been hitting the post and the crossbar for the last 3 or 4 years, not quite getting there. Is that the style? Do they buy into this philosophy and the style of the manager? They obviously do, because they're either using that as a delaying tactic for making their decision, or that's a genuine reason. Only they know that. But again, one of them's played for Real Madrid, one of them's played for Barcelona. So unless a Paris Saint-Germain, would you go to French football over and above the Premier League? No, I don't think so. German football? No. Where are you going?
Well, I know someone who's going, although he's not going abroad. One done deal is that of Morgan Schneiderlin from Manchester United to Everton, a move predicted and tracked here on Football Whispers. It was a magnanimous Mourinho who spoke about the deal.
Before the match, Mr. Woodward told me almost there. So I don't have is there, I have almost there. So I'm sad, I'm happy. I'm sad because I like him. I'm sad because he could be an option for us in a long season. I'm happy because this is what he wants. He wants to play. He wants to play every game. He wants to be an important player in the team. So if this is what he wants, I'm happy for a very good professional, somebody that I only can say good things about.
Nice to see Mourinho being nice. Now, before we move on, let's just check up on how the Arsene debate is going.
Hold on. Spineless. Spineless. Where were they in the second half? Spineless. No character. No leadership. Where does that boil down to? It boils down to the manager. He's finished. He's finished. He was a great manager. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
He's gone. On Tuesday, we took a look at the South American stars who might be following in the footsteps of our guest, Ozzy Ardiles. Now, with Damien here, we thought it might be an idea to take a look at the French League players who could be making their way across the channel. First up, Fabinho, a Brazilian making his mark as a defensive midfielder for Monaco. Another Monaco player aimed at United is Timoe Bakayoko. Ricardo Pereira, currently with Nice, has been linked with Arsenal. And West Ham have been interested in the Toulouse striker Martin Braithwaite for a while now. Montpellier could be about to lose Riyad Boudabou to West Brom. Fantastic pronunciation. I can see you just glowing at that. Of those, which do you think are more likely?
I think the only one who could move is Boudabou from Montpellier. I don't think he'll go to West Brom because West Brom play 4-4-2. He's a 10. I've never seen Tony use a 10, Tony Pulis. So I can't see him going to West Brom. But he's on the market. Montpellier will not mind letting him go. He didn't go to the African Cup because he got injured. But that injury, he will carry through February, which means if he has to pass a signing medical at the moment, the club will have to take in consideration the fact that he's injured his knee. So it makes the deal a little bit more complicated, but he's on the market, he's gettable for Premier League clubs. It won't be West Ham. The other players that you've mentioned, Braithwaite, he signed a new contract in the summer, so I don't think he'll go anywhere. And Bakayoko and Fabinho are absolutely untouchable. Monaco in a position where they could win the league for the first time since 2002 or 2003. Actually, they won it with Claude Puel as a manager in 2002, I think. They are two very, very good players. For me, Bakayoko has been the best player in the French league in the first part of the season. It's been world-class, really, really impressed. They don't need money. They want to win the league. They are still in Champions League. They play Man City in February. Think they've got a chance to beat Man City. And then Pereira, the right back from Nice, is a very good player. He's on loan from Porto on a 2-year loan deal. And Porto do not have a callback clause in the contract, in the loan agreement between the two clubs. For Porto to sell him, they'll have to call him back and then sell him on to a third club. And Porto have not got the ability to recall the player. So, and Nice are top of the league. They sit tight and say the player is going nowhere. So I don't. Those deals won't happen. The only one maybe is Boudebouz.
Well, that's putting it on the line. Well, what about an English player going the other way? There's PSG. I mean, I can see the attraction there, but are there any other attractions to be playing in the French Ligue 1?
It depends who you're playing for. If you're playing for a mid-table team in England and the top 6 don't want you, but Paris Saint-Germain do, which would be unlikely in itself, that may be a reason. But you know, over the years, there's been very few English players gone into France. I mean, I think Tony Cascarino, Chris Waddle were about the only 2 I can ever think of.
David Beckham?
Yeah. Eventually ended up, you know, at Paris Saint-Germain. But you know, there haven't been many players going that way, Matt, has there?
No, not too many. It's been great to see you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You too, Paul. Before we go, let's see if they've reinvented the wheel at the Arsenal.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. The trouble is, right, Robbie. The trouble with this fan base, right? I'll tell you what the trouble is. This fan base, right? They don't listen. They don't look at reality. They look at the past. They keep thinking about the past. Where's the ginger Chris? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
Where is he? We've got no idea. That's about it for now, other than a reminder that we want to hear from you. Ask us the questions you want asked. Tell us about some of the deals you know are in the offing. Generally, just keep in touch. Use Facebook, Twitter or email to do it and we'll put your thoughts out there. We're back on Tuesday with super agent John Smith, who represented Diego Maradona and around 400 other players. He'll be here to put the case for a much maligned part of the football transfers business. So that's him, Ginger Chris and us. We'll see you then.